Hello, my beautiful angel doves. It's Timothy. Mwah. Here's a kiss. Be nice. You better behave yourself today. I tell people, I've said this many times before and I'll say it again, if you are talking to someone and you're like, is this person just extremely narcissistic and they know what they're doing, or are they truly so stupid that they have like no idea how it's affecting others and simply don't know how to stop? I'll tell it to you like this. Someone who is a narcissist versus someone who is so stupid to the point where they look like a narcissist are still the same danger, just in different formats. Like, I'll put it this way. Imagine someone writes you a note with a fucking quill and ink that says, I'm going to kill you. And then, like, they send it to you with full intent to murder you, like a death threat. And then imagine someone with, like, the wrong hand and an upside down crayon just fucking writes in, like, on the back of some toilet paper or used pizza box, I'm going to mix ammonia and bleach and give it to you as a gift. And then they send you that note. It's like you're still getting threatened. Treat it the same. Like, I was thinking to myself, I had this buddy, and I describe him as sweet, but in hindsight, might be one of the dumbest people I've met in a while. We aren't currently friends anymore. And I thought to myself, he is a sweet guy, and he doesn't seem to have malicious intent in his heart, but it doesn't change the fact that I remember specifically we were at this comedy club together, and I told him, hi, it seems like it's like raining pretty hard, and I don't want to get in the rain because it'll mess up my hair, and my hair is already getting pretty frizzy, and I don't want to worsen it. Also, I'm wearing a pea coat, and it's not like water resistant, so it would just even be at risk of getting me sick or moldy or sticky and seeping through all the layers. And my shoes also aren't exactly the most durable. So, like, and I'm wearing like a very thin dress, and so can we just stay inside and like avoid the rain? This nigga heard me say that. He was like, yeah, I feel you, I feel you. And you want to know what happened next? This nigga calls an Uber. He doesn't tell me that the pickup spot is actually going to be fucking 3 blocks, 7 blocks away. And he doesn't even tell me that he calls the ride. He's just like, oh shit, the ride's here. And he opens the door as it's really monsoon levels thunderstorm and rain and just sprints out in a direction. And he's my fucking ride home. And so obviously I have to follow him. I'm not wearing a hat. And I'll save you a very long story. Let's just say an hour straight in the fucking rain, walked 7 blocks in the wrong direction. He kept refusing to use Google Maps. He didn't have, just, I'll put it this way, he did a million things within that extremely long hour that resulted in my hair getting really, really fucked up. It looks worse. I just put on oil and stuff the other day. I got home soaking wet and suicidal and angry and homicidal and got so close to whooping that nigga's ass when we were outside. My jacket and my clothes were drenched head to fucking toe, and my boots, which were actually really nice quality, started like breaking off into pieces and peeling. Like, my boots were breaking apart like fucking Pangea. Yeah, I looked like a hot mess express. It was bullshit. And he did not apologize during any step of the way. The closest he got when he did finally call in a Lyft ride, and there's so much to this story. I wish I could tell you, but you'd be here for an hour, and it's so many layers. I'm sure there's another video I've already made, but Jesus, it was bad. It was so bad. You would think this guy... There's nothing I can say that would not be ableist. So I'll keep it cute and just say he's kind of like if someone got kicked in the head with a horse 12 times and then never got any sort of treatment, you know? And then started huffing like glue and pine sol and rubbing. Like, there's just no functioning cognitives in his head whatsoever. And so it's like, okay, sure, at my core, I know he's not a bad guy. He's the type of guy that hears you struggling and he'll give you like 200 fucking bucks. He's the type of guy who buys people drinks at the bar just because he wants people to feel like social and involved. It doesn't change the fact that unintentionally he was a fucking asshole. And I remember on the ride back to my place, we weren't gonna do anything, obviously not. He has a girlfriend, we were just friends. He still tried to pull a, oh, well, you know, I will at least apologize for not checking Uber instead of Lyft sooner, like, cause that I do feel, but nothing else I will apologize for. And it's like, he was terrible. So it doesn't change the fact that it's like, he's a sweet guy, but it still put me in the exact same danger and acted as insufferable and unintelligently and selfishly and fucking dumb as the average narcissist. So simply put, that's not someone you should be around. A quote I like to say is, if it looks like a duck and cracks like a duck and walks like a duck, has the same bill, same little feet, same everything, even if it's a platypus, it's still fucking close enough, and you should question why was a platypus looking so much like a duck in the first place, if that makes any sense. And if that doesn't, what I'm saying is, if someone is stupid enough where they are willing to act like a narcissist, and then they're still stupid enough where they will not change their ways whatsoever, even if they perceive it's hurting people, then congratulations, you're just getting like a watered down narcissist, which is kind of worse, because at least, narcissists know. Actually, no, it's basically the same thing, and not even, because it's like they both know what they did wrong. One is just too stupid, seemingly, to apply, and the other one just has a bit too much of an ego to let themselves apply. So it's the same shit. It's basically like if someone gave you the option of, do you want a Snickers bar or do you want a Milky Way with peanuts in it? It's like it's the same shit. Like a friend of mine, I'm not going to say their name, they've been going through heavy relationship issues, and they were talking about how this girl just like repeatedly keeps leading him on, doing this, doing that, like 1 second she's all about him, the next second she's saying, oh, I can't meet with you, I don't want anything serious, and then by the next morning, 1 second she'll be like, I want you to just leave in the morning without saying bye to me whatsoever, I want to end this quietly as if it never even happened, and then she'll hear him getting up in the middle of the night and just be like, wait, please don't leave without saying goodbye, I can't handle this, I need you, I want you. And it would, she would do shit to cause him emotional turmoil. She'd say, yeah, I'm gonna be unavailable for 4 days, but I will meet you this Saturday. And then next thing you know, as soon as it would be like the time they were gonna meet, she would tell him 5 minutes as soon as he was gonna actually pick her up. She just is like, oh, sorry, change of plans last minute, I can't. She does shit to fuck with him. And he was like, I can't tell if she's just really this fucking, you can't, it's hard to see someone that you love as someone who's bad. Especially if you know and you've seen their good moments. So he was like, I can't tell if she's just narcissistic or if she is just truly so blind to how this affects me. And I just have to tell him that it's like, she most likely knows what she's doing. And then even if she doesn't, that's even worse. Because you can't rationalize with the person like that. You're getting hurt all the same. What matters is, are you getting hurt? Sure, let's bring my mother up, even though I haven't talked about her in God knows how long, which is actually a big win for me. Shout out to me. I know that with her, how do I put this? My mom did a lot of things. Some things were because she was stupid. Some things were because she was a narcissistic fucking cunt. But I will say this. How do I put this? I could tell it's like, oh, okay, she's about to have a breakdown in a second and lash out because deep down she's just really sad about disappointing me and still feels insecure about her abilities as a mother and doesn't want to disappoint me or whatever. Doesn't change the fact that it's like, okay, so you're still hurting me. You're still storming into my room, kicking shit open, insulting me, calling me an ungrateful little bitch, doing this, it's still the same thing. Doesn't matter if they're fucking dumb or if they're smart and they know how to be calculated, or if they're dumb as fuck and they aren't thinking at all. The end result is you should care about how it feels for you. Because at the end of the day, you will be left with just you. And that's how I feel about it. Also, this also works in predatory circles. For example, the game Mouthwashing is a good example. There's the character Anya, and she tells Curly about getting raped by Jimmy. And, one is kind of like, oh, was Curly just, so naive that he couldn't see that, Jimmy really was this hostile, really, really bad guy who couldn't be saved? Or was he truly just, malicious and didn't believe Anya? And didn't give that much of a fuck? The answer is, it's still the same type of fucking person. It's still someone who left you in a time of need and was willing to hurt you. Or even leave you vulnerable and alone because they prioritize something else over you. I'm just saying. Kind of like those stories where I hear about people who go to cafes and they'll be like, hi, can I get something with no gluten? I have a severe allergy. And then they'll still serve her something that has gluten or dairy or whatever the fuck she said she can't have. And then, there's the ones who do it because they're smug, because they're like, oh, I figured it was just some skinny bitch who worried about her weight. I wanted to show her she had nothing to worry about. Whole time that bitch then went into anaphylactic shock and had to go into a hospital and now has to pay bills, and that person gets sued, and yeah. And then there's people who are just willingly negligent, and who really are like, oh yeah, this doesn't have any gluten, but they actually didn't even bother to check because they don't know what gluten is, and they just lied out their ass. And then they're just like, oh, how was I supposed to know that our pizza had gluten? How was I supposed to know that that whole milk was 100% had lactose in it? Blah blah blah. So it's still the same type of threat. It's still negligence. It's still like, it doesn't matter. It's still naivety and narcissism that leads into negligence. You should take it seriously. Like, trust me, if I could rewind time, I would be like, hey girl, you know that guy who says that he can't take you out on dates because he's afraid? You know that guy who says he won't introduce you to his family or claim you openly to his friends because he's afraid? Guess what? That, like, he's not afraid. He's just a dick, and he knows that if he can milk that shit as much as fucking possible. Why? Because he's secretly selfish as fuck. And he doesn't give a fuck if you're hurt, and he wants to put in the lowest amount of effort possible. Like, I also, when I called out an ex for doing weaponized incompetence on me, I remember, like, I finally called him out. He was like, oh, baby, how do I look up this restaurant? Can you do it for me? I don't know how to do it. I said, oh, you looked it up the same way you looked up how to get here. And he was like, oh, baby, I just don't know. You don't have to have an attitude with me. And I said, yeah, but you know how to do it. You're 25 years old. So would you like to do it? And then he did it with no issue, because it turns out it's like, if I, oh, let's just say if I could rewind time, I would be like, that nigga is not stupid. Like, yeah, he's sweet. Yeah, he's funny or this or that, but I hate to break it to you, he is choosing to act that way. Because someone who cares about you, even if they were the dumbest motherfucker in the world, would still put in the steps in the work to try. So if there's a man out there who's like, oh, I don't want to get you a Christmas gift because I'm scared I'm going to mess it up. Okay, well, that's the same as a narcissist saying that you don't deserve a Christmas gift. Because someone who cared would try. If someone knew that they were hurting you in any single way, shape, and form, emotionally, physically, anything, they would try. And if they aren't fucking trying for you, then cool. I'll put it this way. Whether the person you're around is like manipulative in a Hannibal Lecter way, or if they're genuinely dumb as fuck like Lenny of Mice and Men, and like, it doesn't matter if it's like a lack of self-control or their upbringing or whatever, the point is they're still hurting you. They're the same danger.